everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're having a lovely Wednesday today. Welcome to Dine, episode number. Honestly, I lost track. Which episode are we on right now? Wait, we had. Is this like episode six? I think six or seven. I don't know. Once you start like getting above five, it's so easy to lose track with these things. Yeah, welcome to the next episode of Dine. Yeah, I'm Paul. I'm your host today, and today we will be talking about ego, managing your ego. Yeah, I think very important topic. Not just for game dev, but like in general, if you're working in a team environment. But for game dev, I think exceptionally important. Um, I've got quite some stories to tell about this topic. Yeah, really looking forward to share some absolutely cringeworthy disaster classes of mine. Hope you're strapped in for that. I see the chat is getting on board. Um, we got Manon here. Hiya. We got Dusty. Hello, you two. I hope you're having a lovely Wednesday. Yeah, and as always, we are going to be cooking up a very exquisite dish. Again, from this book I used last time for the sushi. Anything you can cook, I can cook vegan from Richard Mencken. And yeah, we are going to be making vegan sriracha cashew chicken today. So yeah, got all the recipes for that. All the ingredients. I keep using like ingredients and recipes, the words like interchangeably. I don't know why I do that. Yeah. Yeah, but it's gonna be cooking by numbers. Not a very complicated dish. He even has like a level for each dish. So like one is like easy peasy, and then three is like super incredibly difficult. This level one just gonna make ourselves a relaxing Wednesday evening, much needed for me actually. I just, when you have like this earworm, but the song itself doesn't really have any lyrics, and you're just like desperately trying to type some words into the Google search bar or asking ChatGPT for something. I just had this earworm. Like the other day at lunch at my work, they were playing the song. Like they have this thing where they always play a song whenever it's time for lunch, and it's a very well known song. It goes like ha ha ha. Dum 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 ha ha ha, like that. Like you've probably heard it once. I managed to find it. Wait, I forgot the name of the song again. It's like Minaru or something. Oh, Agent 66 joined the Chef Dev Kitchen. Thank you so much for the follow. Awesome. This song is called. I typed it in my YouTube search bar. Yeah. The song is called Misère Lou. It's from Pulp Fiction, apparently. But yeah, no, I was spending like 30 minutes just trying to find that song by asking ChatGPT. But like, of course, how many failed attempts are you gonna have if it's like all you can communicate is you know that one song that goes like ha ha ha, and you can't like tell ChatGPT anything about like tones or stuff. Also because I know nothing about music or like how to like deconstruct music into its like separate parts. So yeah, that was my Wednesday evening so far. How was your guys? How was your guys? Um Oh yeah, earworm when you're playing video game music, of course. You're gonna be cooking, Manon, you're gonna be cooking ketchup tempeh from Rainbow Plant Life tomorrow. Ooh, that's so nice. Honestly, we had such nice tempeh at work the other day. I was impressed at just like how good you can make tempeh taste, because I've had not very good experience with tempeh so far. For me, it always just like tasted really dry, and I just know how to make tofu like get that crispy texture to make it like almost feel like chicken. But yeah, no, was really surprised at just how good they made the tempeh taste. I think they got it from like some Indian place or something. I don't remember. Yeah, let me know how it goes with the tempeh. if you manage to make tempeh taste good, that's you've earned my respect, definitely. Um, Great to hear you sing. Yeah, I'm so sorry for that. I'm so sorry for that. What are we cooking? Yeah, we are going to making sriracha cashew chicken. This is like preview picture of it. Yeah, and while we're at that, I'm gonna be talking a little bit about like managing your ego. Cause yeah, I have definitely some not so not so cool stories to tell about how my incredibly overbloated ego, or sometimes underbloated ego, has gone overboard or underboard sometimes. So yeah, stay tuned for me sharing some cringeworthy stories, to say the least. um, Randall Plantlife has a whole video on tempeh recipes for people who don't like tempeh. This is one of the recipes from that video. Ooh, I'm that sounds really intriguing. I'm definitely gonna try that out. That might be something nice to try out for next week. Actually, still looking for recipes for next week. So originally I wanted to do something for Friday where I have like a little bit more chat interaction. So I actually like, yeah, I wanted to make like stir fry and then have the chat like choose which ingredients we are going to be using. I think something like that could be fun. My partner is coming over on Friday, so unfortunately this Friday is there's not gonna be a live stream. But for next week, I think next week Friday, I think that could be a great date for doing like a more interactive challenge with the chat. So yeah, hope you're joining for that. All right, I think let's just start. Yeah, we're gonna need to be making a sauce and then the actual stir fry for this. What do I need for the sauce? So they want us to use mushroom bouillon powder. I'm just going to be using my veggie powder, which is in the block shape, like you can get it in Albertine. Wait, these are like your biggest earworms. Elder Princess Shroob. Oh yeah, that's like a really dark from Mario and Luigi, right? Partners in Time. Yeah, we're gonna need some Shaoxing wine. I don't have wine. I'm just bullshitting my way through this. I have some rice vinegar. That should do the trick. We just need like 2 tablespoons of that anyways. Gonna use the rest of the soy sauce. I need some more soy sauce. It's like when you're vegan, your your soy sauce stonks. Damn, say that like 3 times fast. They just like bloop, completely go nuts. Right, we need some corn flour, just like flour, I guess. It's fine. We need some water. We need sriracha. Oh damn! How? My sriracha sauce is still in the fridge. Dang it! It's like I always have my setup so that it's blocking the fridge. So yeah, just let me move you guys for a second here. Oh my god! And everything falls apart instantly. I'll be right back. Alright, I got it. Okay, do we have the camera back in place? Kind of, sort of. Yeah, this works. We got the sriracha sauce, and let me just get my face cam back up here. Hello. Yeah, I don't know, I'm so lazy with finding a solution for this because it's like if it ain't broken, don't fix it, but it's not very user friendly like with me being the user. No Valentine's Day special. Oh, actually, let me text Robin after this. Robin also has a day off, so maybe they'll join the chat. I don't know. Wait, is Valentine's Day this Friday? Actually, or was it this? Was it on Saturday? I'm completely lost. Okay, we need sriracha. We need sugar. Yeah, I got brown sugar. I don't know. The recipe for the sauce is definitely kind of like just thrown together. Let's hope that it works. All right, and of course we need a bowl to mix this all in. Incredible how well prepared I am. take Harry Potter bowl, platform 9 3/4. Sauce ingredients in a clean jar and screw on the lid. Shake well until combined, then set aside. Yeah, I think it's fine if we just throw everything together in a bowl and then just whisk it a lot. All right, yeah. So yeah, talking about ego today. One of a very very important feature I think when you're working in any team, especially like in a creative environment, it's always good to have like at least some healthy amount of ego. Yeah, ego is super important, right? For one, to help you confidently pitch your ideas. I think that is like the most important thing. Like especially as a designer, when you're working in a team as a designer, like your task is to help people envision the idea of the game that you are trying to, like in every stage, especially in the concepting stage, right? You just want people to actually, right, you have a thought, you have it completely thought out in your mind, and you want people to notice, you want people to share that same vision so that you can actually like get going and get making the video game. And in order to do that, you mustn't doubt yourself, right? I mean, it's okay. It's all a balancing act with ego. That's what I'm going to say from the get-go for this video. With ego, just like with everything in game design, it's all about balance, right? With everything in the... Honestly, that is so... Isn't that poetic? How just everything in this world is about balance. From cooking to game design to self-control. Sorry if this sounds like super cliche, but... Paul's Wisdoms on Wednesday. We're gonna make that a thing, definitely. Next Friday, chat decides what ingredients go in the Valentine's Day dinner. Oh my goodness. If I let the chat decide the Valentine's Day dinner, that's gonna be... Ooh. That is potentially gonna be relationship breaking. If you guys are not nice to me, so please be nice to me. On Valentine's Day, my girlfriend and I are going to be cooking Surinamese roti. Ooh, that sounds super exotic. I'm gonna look up. Make sure to send the recipe in the recipes channel on Discord. I'm actually, if you have a recipe, I'm actually really curious to just see how that goes. Yeah, that sounds super delicious. But yeah, Paul's Wednesday wisdoms. Right, starting off with ego being all about balance. Yeah, of course. So, while it's important, right? This is of course when you're in like concepting meetings, right? At the start, everybody's gonna have ideas, right? Lots of them, really good ones. So it's important when you're starting off to not just shut down everything and be like, right, this is my vision, this is what we're doing, and I'm not gonna be listening to whatever any of you guys are saying. Right? That is I think it's important if you have an idea that you feel fits the brief, or like in the when it comes to like a game jam, like a theme. I think it's definitely good to like step up, pitch it to the team, pitch the game that fits to the theme to the team. Wow, we're just having so many tongue twisters today, aren't we? But yeah, you should definitely do that. But I think what is like the most important is to like get a vibe for what the team is all about in general, right? I think like when you're starting off with any game development project, just like get to know the people, right? Like have talks with them, have talks about like what are your favorite songs, what are your favorite movies, what are your favorite games, right? Just like what inspires you guys? Why are you here? Why do you want to make a game and bring joy to people's lives? In which way do you want to bring joy to people's lives, right? Because so many different games, so many different experiences that you can craft. So yeah, I think I would always start off with that. Just like maybe for, I mean, of course, always depends on like how long you have to get to know the people. But I think that's always like a great starter. We need 2 tablespoons of sriracha. It's like 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons. Yeah, looks about right. I like it a bit spicy. I'm gonna add a little bit more. As you might know, the wasabi has only strengthened me. You're gonna be nice next Friday. Only give me a little bit of Tabasco. Yeah, thank you, Dusty. That's very, very kind of you. Right, so like get a vibe, what the people are all about, what inspires them. And then I think you can already like the concepting stage becomes a little bit easier, I would say, right? If everybody like is all about like really deep themes and symbols in movies, then maybe like a narrative game is something that comes to the team more easily. Whereas, I don't know, if everybody's super energetic, likes going on, likes doing activities, doing like visiting bouncy halls, getting energetic, I think then maybe like a platformer might come more natural to the team, right? So I think what's important, and this of course also always relates to ego, is getting a feel for the people, getting an idea of what people want, and then trying to find a concept together that suits everybody's strengths, because it doesn't make sense if you can have a really, really cool idea. If it doesn't fit the team's strengths or their interests, then it doesn't matter how cool the idea is, right? You want to have something that, because again, idea is like only this important, execution is like this important and even bigger. I can't make my hands bigger than the camera screen is, but like you get the idea. So yeah, you're gonna want to have something that the team is okay with executing for maybe, I don't know, 2 days, 2 weeks, 3 months, 3 years, 3 decades. I don't know. Do game projects take 3 decades? Is there any game where the development has gone on for that long? I mean, like also with release, but then like maintaining it. I don't know. How long has Club Penguin been a thing? Like when Club Penguin went on for like 20 years or something, right? I'm not sure. Somebody tell me in the chat. I'd like to know. I put the recipes in the recipe channel on Discord. Oh, thank you, Manon. That is class. Thank you so much. Oh, our knife fell down here. I think we have the sauce. No, we don't have the sauce. Yeah, of course we need of course some corn flour. Like, was that maybe a bit too much? 1.5 tablespoons. Big tablespoons. Yeah, I guess that works. And we're gonna need sesame oil. 1 tablespoon toasted sesame oil. We're just gonna use some olive oil. That should be fine. 140. I never know how much 140 milliliters water are. This is like my measuring cup here. It's a blender, but the only thing I use it for is for measuring things. Okay. Fill that up halfway. Ooh, that's quite a lot, actually. What? This is insanely much. What the heck? But no, I think this is okay, actually. Just make sure that this is all combined well. Oh, this is the sauce, apparently. It's just, according to the recipe, at least, just looks like one big glob of goo. Perhaps RuneScape. Oh, could be. Honestly, RuneScape is like a name of a game that I feel so embarrassed not like having a clear vision of what RuneScape is when you're saying it. It's like one of these game names that like constantly pop up, but I'm never like I don't know what RuneScape is. I'm just gonna say it blatantly as it is. Like tell me what RuneScape is because I've heard the game name over and over and over, but I just don't know what it is. Is it? I don't even know what genre it is. It's so yeah. Please educate me. um, yeah, insane. 3 decades for like maintaining a game. I mean, I guess like Tetris is so like there's new modes and everything coming out for it, but those are of course all different developers, right? It's like oftentimes you just take a game from the past, put a unique spin on it, and then that's your cool new game, which I think is a great way of making a game. But again, yeah, you gotta like talk with your other co-developers about whether that's a way of making a game that they find exciting. It's an MMORPG where you are a knight and you level up. Oh, that sounds pretty basic. No, I bet the execution of it is great because otherwise I wouldn't have heard about it so much. But cool. I'm gonna look into it because I need to educate myself more on AAA games. I don't know. I'm not that educated when it comes to like AAA games. I like my I mean I'm working at Poke now, who are all about mobile games, but yeah, I really like my little indie games that just tried something new. I like my board games. AAA is like, of course, I like when it comes to Nintendo, I've played pretty much all of their titles, but other than that, I still got a lot to learn. um, all right. Oh, I just have somebody from Buas text me. Ah, it's fine. Okay, we got the saucy. I think while we're doing this, it might be good actually to cook up some rice, cause yeah, we're gonna have our dish go together with rice. So yeah, let's cook some rice. It's always a bit annoying because I have to get the cooker just like this stove is just not it doesn't get hot enough to boil the water by itself. So yeah, I just always have to cook the water separately, my water cooker, and then put it in the pot. But yeah, that's fine. Oh wait, there's a Manon gave me a very detailed description of RuneScape. Um, um, it was started in the early 2000s, I believe, but there are still original team members working on it. Well, the old school version at least. Ooh, it was really cool that you could play it in the browser at the time. Careful though. Crack cocaine is less addicting than RuneScape once you get into. Crack cocaine is less addicting than RuneScape once you get into it. Oh wow, yeah, I can imagine. I like, honestly, I don't know what I'd do without Balatro. As I've said so often, it's just like it's so funny, right? Like my entire day consists of just playtesting, QAing video games at Pokey, and then I go home to relax from work. I just like pop up Balatro and play more video games. It's like, what are you doing with your life, man? Do you have like any other hobbies? Cooking, I guess. um, no, I can. So yeah, might try. Should I try it out? Can you still play it in the browser? Actually, I can imagine for the time that must have been like really novel. Um, all right, let's get going. I think this still, yeah. Let me just put some more water in here. And I can turn on the stove, and we can start. Yeah. Oh, this recipe is really easy. Like, I should have maybe taken something a little bit more complex, or I don't know. I think we're almost halfway through it. Well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Um, Yeah, I still need some time to share cringeworthy ego stories with you all. Um, but yeah, no, as I said, just to sum things up again, um, ego is super important, um, especially like in concepting stages to just pitch your ideas, but also of course maintaining it throughout the project, to guide your team, right? If you are the lead, I mean, always depends on which position you are, right? I mean, if you are the lead, if you are the vision holder of the project, and you got to direct people, um, right? Then you can't. You always need to have like, as I said, with balance, you always need to have just like a little bit of um, that room for consideration, for accepting other people's suggestions, and of course, if you are a developer, rather than design lead, then yeah, your main job is going to be actually the implementation. But on the high level side of things, you're still very much involved, right? You're the producer might the lead might say, right, we want a character that runs quickly, but then exactly how you tweak that, even if he goes more in detail, right? They'll never say to which exact values they want the variables tweaked or something, right? So that part is still then very much up to you, and you can argue for why you chose a specific variable speed, for example, right? This like going into like the really nitty gritty things. But I think whatever position you have in game design, on a development team, you should never be a completely silent slave, right? You should, I feel you should always have a voice whenever you're on a development team, and you should speak up if you feel that something feels off, isn't right, could be better, because those are your personal feelings and therefore very, very valuable suggestions, right? So flex those ego muscles and speak up, except when you shouldn't, right? um, it has a downloadable client and mobile version these days. It's free to play, but 90% of the content is behind a subscription. I would recommend the old school version if you want to try it out. Yeah, I'll definitely try it out. Yeah, if especially like if there's a mobile version, then that's free mobile version, right? That's cool to just like quickly get a taste for it. Yeah, I think honestly more games should like offer free versions, right? Just to like, depends on what the game is. If it's like a next Zelda, I don't know if you need to like necessarily offer free version. But if it's like a very systemic, unique experience, right? Give the players some like free levels just to try them out. And yeah, they'll then they think, okay, well maybe this seems kind of good, or I've seen it all, right? Just to help them make more informed purchases. I think that's super cool. Um, yeah. So, chapter 2. When ego goes overboard. Um, yeah. I think there's always like it's really difficult to say where like an unhealthy ego really stems from. Oh, by the way, we have a question of the day, which I haven't talked about. I'm pretty sure you're all very yeah, you all have very healthy team relationships, but was there ever like a time when your ego got in the way of something? Doesn't need to be game development related, but I don't know, it could be in a friend group or like in a high school project or something, right? Um, right? Maybe you, and I mean, this is nothing to be ashamed of, right? I mean, that's why we have like school team projects. I feel like there's always the discussion in like high school team projects, like, ooh, XYZ didn't like do his tasks properly. They're way too laid back. They're not communicating. And it's like when you're in high school, like, I don't know, 13, 12, I don't know. That was like, I think honestly throughout high school, you should just have more team related things to work on, because I don't know how it is in the Netherlands, but in Germany, school is really just so focused on the individual you never work in teams at all. Like maybe you, I mean, maybe in physical education, but even then, it's pretty much like so many people take it as like an ego thing. Like when we're playing football, I just remember half of the people would just like lay back, go into defense, and just discuss about like their what they were having for lunch or something. But yeah, like because of course, right? It's in high school things are forced upon you, and you don't do things out of like personal motivation. Um, but yeah, no, honestly, I think that is just something that you should do so much more in high school. Team based activities, because yeah, I think the only real team based thing we ever had to deliver, because of course you have like presentations and stuff, but like team based thing I can remember that we had to deliver was like a newspaper. It was like everybody wrote, and even then that wasn't like super tied up. It was just we had, everybody wrote some articles for the newspaper, and then we had to like do some logo design and make sure that it's like a relatively solid product. Um, but yeah, it's it's still quite individual. I like in game design, things are so incredibly subjective and tied up. Honestly, if you'd give a game develop like if you'd ask a group of high schoolers to develop a video game, wow, that can be an absolute disaster class. Like I mean, totally depends on the type of people, of course, right? If they're like best friends, have like the exact same tastes, have share the vision. If you're like working with your best friend who you're just playing mobile flash games with all the time, right? Then doesn't matter what age you are, doesn't matter how inexperienced you are, you have the vision, right? You have the vibes in the team. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I advocate for more team-based projects in high school. Who's with me? Let me get the blotter. So yeah, as I was saying, hard to like really distinguish where bloated, unhealthy ego comes from. I think what I think unhealthy ego, like in the sense of ego where you are just trying to like be the ruthless dictator, right? Like you are trying to have the say about anything, like everything on the project. You may like throw people one or a few bones, but really you want to be the guy that gets all the credit because yeah. um, I don't know. I think it always stems to some extent from personal. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it stems from personal insecurity, and I feel I had this like this became for me really prominent in my second year project at university. Um, I don't know. I was throughout my second year at university, I felt like I was really, really struggling and progressing at a very slow pace. Um, it started off, first of all, it started off with me going for technical and systems design instead of level design, um, which honestly I thought was a valid choice because I always felt like I was more on the player experience side. So I feel like if you're more all about player experience, then level design kind of comes to you as more of a natural choice. Um, but of course, that's totally not true because the system is also very much player experience focused, even more so. And of course, systems are apparent in every single video game. Levels not every game has a level structure. Um, so yeah, just because I thought it was so much more fundamental, or a tad bit more fundamental to game design. I mean, of course, difference between level and systems design, you can argue it's incredibly artificial, but whatever. We need we as humans, we need labels to kind of communicate what we're talking about, right? Um, yeah, no, but of course, systems slash tech design um, was just something that I had never really been exposed to in high school. I think I mentioned it last episode, but I've always been an incredibly academic person. Um, right, so like actually hands on to like I'm an incredibly academic and very much non technical person. So going into tech design, that was already something, right? I think the pace at which I developed was because I really not only did I not have I was I not really exposed to game engines before coming into school, but also in Germany, I don't know how it is in the Netherlands, but in Germany, everything is so like we still write all of our class tests on just pieces of paper. I think now they're kind of modernizing a little bit, but in a lot of ways, Germany is still very much stuck in the Middle Ages. Like when I came to the Netherlands here and I saw at Albert Heijn people were like scanning their own groceries, I was like, what? That's unthinkable in Germany. Like when you're when you're a cashier and you have the little thing to scan the things, you are like that is an incredibly um like that is an incredibly powerful tool. Like, he was like, well, you're the scanner. No, Albert Heijn, you just do it yourself in the Netherlands. Um, so yeah, no, I came from probably the modern country that is technically the most underdeveloped. Uh, First world state that is technically the most underdeveloped with Germany. Um, yeah, wanting to do tech design, and yeah, it was just I progressed at such a slow pace. Um, I think yeah, first game that I made, it was like a single twin stick shooter type of game. I just went around asking a bunch of people, hey, can you help me with this mechanic? It's essentially like make it for me. Can you help me out with this? And essentially they like Frankenstein monstered it together for me. Thank you all for the help. For helping a poor soul that didn't know anything about game engines. And yeah, then the second one was like creating a mechanic. Just like Baba is you also like super tied up, right? Just choose something normal. Choose like creating 3Cs, right? Just like a character controller where there's already pretty much a template given to you and then you just have to make it feel good. But no, you always have to be overly ambitious. And yeah, that again, right? As we all know from our William Shakespeare plays, ambition is the downfall of men. Um, yeah, and no, so I was going into my team project, which was like the second semester of year two, feeling really not the best about myself, feeling like I still had things left to prove to people. Um, well, I kind of sucked in those first two blocks, but you know, I still got some energy inside me. I want to like show them what I can do. I want to show them that I'm capable of leading a team. Ah, yeah, yeah. I think unhealthy ego comes from a toxic symbiosis of feeling underaccomplished, and then similarly at the same time also feelings of grandiosity, right? Like wanting to break the chains, right? Past was kind of past was past kind of like didn't work out for me, so you know now I especially like wanted even more, right? Want to show people that I'm capable of something even more. Now it's time to break the chains. It's like I don't know if this sounds a bit cringe talking about it this way, but for me those were like the feelings that I kind of experienced going into this project where I flexed very unhealthy ego muscles. I don't know. Maybe some of you feel the same way. Also, I've been talking a lot. Maybe it's time for me to actually start slicing up some ingredients. Um, I used to hate brew projects in high school, but that was probably just team friction that you learned from. Yeah, honestly, I think that's like the thing with team projects in general. I think the worst type of project to be on is team projects where there's no clear vision. No clear vision, I think, also leads to just like toxic vibe. So no clear vision, toxic vibe. Then I think like the kind of like middle grounds is you just do everything yourself, because you personally you have the clear vision. You're gonna be working on something that ideally you're also super passionate about, right? Um, but yeah, of course, you don't have the people to actually help you out. And then I think the best thing there is, um, yeah, arguably the best thing there is everybody on the team shares the same vision, right? There's good vibes amongst everybody. Um, yeah, you encourage one another, you help one another out. There's no guilt tripping or any of that stupid nonsense. Yeah, I honestly think that's yeah. I think everybody thinks that's probably like the best thing. But yeah, of course, when you're in high school, um, you're worrying about like completely different things in your life other than high school things. So yeah, high school projects always fun. Just yeah, get some of the weirdest projects concocted in high school. Oh, I did, of course. I did theater and acting in high school. That is theoretically a team project. That was also always super fun. We have Mark in here, uh, acting buddy from way back in high school. Um, I think he's not here today, but yeah, no. That was probably like the biggest production I was part of back in high school. So yeah, it's possible, but also amongst like actors, there's more. I think there's also just more of a hierarchy because we had like our acting teacher, our producer, and of course, like she's the vision holder, right? She directs everybody. Like in uni, in high school, everybody, right? That's where ego problems come in because more than one person might want to be the lead, and then right, you have like this toxic friction. In the end, does it really matter? Just let somebody be the lead and like move on with it. But you know, it's these like everybody's young and inexperienced and insecure, and it's good to make these experiences, I would say. Um, I say that resonates pretty well. Kind of how I felt in my last year at BUAS. Oh, I didn't actually know that you were at BUAS as well. Which like when did you graduate? Which projects were you part of? I've looked into like a lot of the BUAS projects. Really like would be really interesting to know what projects you were part of. Um, I felt I had surpassed all the teachers, and there was nothing more to learn at BUAS. Ready to enter the industry, only to have all my ego crushed. I think that happens also. So, yeah. I mean, right. The teachers don't know everything, right? They're there to guide you, right? They're there to help you, and I think also most importantly to just foster a good vibe amongst the students. I think that's like the most important thing to do as a teacher, to just like foster good vibes, um, to foster good vibes, and yeah, to just help the students out and help guide them. Well, yeah, so yeah, I think it can you can easily also sometimes get the feeling, ooh, I am really experienced in this particular niche, this particular subject. I feel like I have surpassed the teachers in regards to X Y Z. um, but yeah, I think on your game designers, you're gonna have your ego crushed so often. Um, I think for me, I'm bipolar, so I have a very bouncy brain sometimes, right? Like maybe you've realized it during the stream. Like sometimes I'm just like, what was I even talking about 3 seconds ago? No, but it's very much the same with my ego. Like I have or just my confidence level. My confidence fluctuates at such incredible levels sometimes. Like it sometimes feels like I'm two different people because I feel like everything stems from confidence. Like I can be over the moon, like pitching people my amazing new concepts the one day, and then the next I'll just be like, yeah, down in the dumps and what am I even doing here? I can't code for the love of God. Yeah, it's a very double-edged sword with me sometimes. I graduated in 2017. I was there before project-based learning was a thing. Oh, really? That's you were there before project-based learning was a thing at BUAS, right? So I don't know. Since when does IGET exist? Actually, I'm not sure. Um, so you didn't make video games with other people? What was your study called? That's actually really interesting. Back when it was still called NHTV then, right? Oh no, you said oh no, you said you graduated from IGAT, so that's still um wait, what does IGAT stand? No, it's C because CMGTK, right? Creative Media and Games Technologies is what it's called. And then IGAT stands for International Game. What does IGAT even stand for? Oh my god, how have I been here for 4 years and don't know this? Um, I probably when I hear it know it again, but yeah. Oh well. All right, I've been talking for so long. Let's get it cutting. Ah, it's always so difficult, like balancing multiple plates at the same time. Um, oh, now I'm looking at my script instead of at the recipe. Tomato, blah, 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 blah. All right, I need chicken chunks. It's also like really expensive. I think like oh my god, like this was honestly this was still okay. I think I paid like €5 for 300 grams of vegan chicken, but these cashews, I paid €7 for these cashews, which is like I don't know. I think that's kind of crazy. They're bio cashews though from Albert Heijn, so I think that's okay. I don't know. I'm not paying €7 for cashews again, I'd say. We had a game lab course, which was 1 day a week to work on a group project game for 2 blocks. Next to that, we had a bunch of of courses each block. Um, okay, that's you only had 1 day each week to work on like a group-based project. That's huh. Did you have Steam back then? Yeah, if you graduated in 2017, that was a long time ago because I think BUAS projects have only been like published on Steam since like maybe 5, 6 years, if I remember correctly. Wow, that's a long time ago. Um, International Game Architecture and Design, of course. Yeah, the architecture part always gets me, right? It's like I don't know. I think game design is essentially architecture, right? But I don't know. When I think of architecture, I just think of something different. I think of like Leaning Tower of Pisa and stuff like that. Yeah, but thank you for bringing me up to speed again on what my own study course is called. um, all right, we got the chicken, heat a dry wok or large frying pan, add the cashews, blah 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 blah. Um, I think I should probably before I throw anything in a pan, um, just start cutting this so that we're not in a hurry. But yeah, then like what did the games look like that you guys made back then? I'd be really interested in just getting a feel for because if you only did it once a week and like how big were your teams as well? That would also be interesting to find out. Yeah, because I can imagine if you're only doing group-based projects once a week, then the games would need to be reasonably in scope, right? Cool. Um, in my third year, it switched to project-based and was a mess. I heard it got better. Oh yeah. Oh, if you all of a sudden, if you've only been working in team-based projects once a week, and then in your third year, suddenly like everything is team project based. Wow, that's quite something. That must be such an insane switch. I think it's really good because yeah, I think honestly IGAT has a good balance now, I would say, with allowing you to grow individually and then yeah, also working yourself into a team. Um, yeah, the way it's structured now is so we have the individual like board game block in first year. We have I think now they switched back to making the arcade game as a personal project, but like having it in like group project, like having groups that like do it together, which I think that is like a really good way of introducing people to one another because it's like I think a lot of the toxic nature comes from inexperienced people working together, and then it'll get like all accusatory like, oh, you're ruining the project because somebody like not out of like ill intention but just because well they're at school and they're trying to like learn something new, right? So I mean, happened to me so often that I uploaded bugs just because I was like stressed out of my mind and like of course I didn't want to like hurt the project. Of course not. But you're just you feel this constant like stress, deadlines looming, and right, you want to help out. And then yeah, you do something that you're not necessarily super experienced with, and the game explodes. In a way, again, right, this is maybe I don't think that's like necessarily a problem of toxic ego. That's more of that's another insecurity problem, I feel, wanting to try something out. Or, yeah, just trying to help. I think that's more of a problem with like people that give you the impression that you always need to be working no matter what you're doing. That's the toxic ego thing, I think, right? Just like, oh, we don't have time to like for a tea break. Come on, we're on. I mean, of course, when you're a producer, you got to keep people on track, but it's also very much your job to ensure that there's a positive vibe in the team. And yeah, again, finding that balance, especially when you're a student, is tricky. Especially with there being so many different people that all click. I would say I'm somebody who like very much likes to help out, very much wants to have an impact on the project. I think everybody who works in game development wants to have a good impact, right? But yeah, very often, yeah, I think when I first was at Buas, I was like, ooh, I'm just a small little schmoofoo, and everybody else has worked in game engines before and everything. And yeah, I was just like feeling, yeah, really insecure and also therefore a little bit uncommunicative. And yeah, then I would sometimes just do stupid bullshit in engine that would cause a bug in the project, and then yeah, I guess people rightfully so got angry with me. Because I wasn't communicating. Yeah, if you don't communicate, again, also need to figure out how much communication is enough, how much is sufficient. When in doubt, always double check. Oh, you're back to see. Very nice. Oh, I think your Manon, your chat kind of got cut off. Also, much higher in the old system. 60 plus hours was really 60 plus hours for your projects, like per week, or I'm not able to see the full text. Maybe yeah, maybe send a follow up. If you Google battling brains, you might find an old Game Lab project I worked on. That was with a dumpster fire engine on PS4 though, so it looks pretty crap. Did you get your game published on PS4 actually? That's super cool. I think we also made like our Alice project work on PS4, but we didn't actually get it published. But some people did it just because why not? The rice is cooked. The rice is cooked while we were talking. Wow, what effective use of our time. um, All project based was a mess as they were still figuring out how this was all going to work as they went. Honestly, I think they're still figuring out how to do it. But honestly, is there a perfect way to do it? Something as tied up as game development in teams with, like, as I said, inexperienced, insecure, young people with unhealthy egos. That's like, it's recipe for disaster going into. It's a recipe for disaster going in. And I mean, of course, not entirely, but so many projects fail, right? So many projects fail because of so many various reasons. Of course, you can like present people like the most common traps to fall in. And yeah, whenever something goes wrong, it's always so easy to blame the teachers. But then again, you're here to fail. You are very much at game school to make all these mistakes that just can't be taught to you in advance, to make all these experiences. So yeah, I mean, of course, as the educators, as the people that are in charge of the course, always listen to what students are saying, but like, I don't think the whole system needs to be like reworked constantly. I mean, in all honesty, I've kind of like, for me this year, like the whole, like, I don't know if they had learning logs for you back then. But I don't know. I used to be like really, really, like, I tried to keep my learning log like up to date, like every single day, just make sure that it looked pretty and everything. And now I'm like in my 4th year and I'm just kind of winging it. I'm like, my learning, like, nobody's gonna care about my learning log when I'm out there. That is really something that is like just there for the teachers. It's not like, not that I'm half-assing it, but it's like, I think there's so much to take care of. Like when you're starting to become an adult, responsible adult making streams on Twitch. And you just like need to figure out for yourself where to cut corners. And I don't know, I feel learning log is very much a thing where I'm okay with cutting corners. Or like graduate. I want to graduate, but I don't really care what grade I graduate with because nobody's gonna care. Nobody's really gonna care, right? It's like a nice thing to show, like, oh my god, I graduated all 10s, but I don't know. Do people care? Maybe. I don't know. Which Nintendo which Nintendo games have decreased in quality? In my opinion, Paper Mario. Paper Mario has decreased in quality. Yeah, that's my answer. I don't know. It's like, of course, like Origami King was okay again, but like, dude, it's no 1,000-year door. Come on, it's no 1,000-year door. No, publishing a school project was not a thing back then. OMG learning logs, those were new with project based and I hated them. I am the most disorganized person ever. My main gripe was that I didn't matter how good I was at programming anymore, more about how good I was in filling docs and talking about how much I learned. Honestly, that is so true. And I am saying this as somebody who is like, as I said, came from a very academic, non-tech background. Like, I can, no matter how hard the challenge, no matter how much I absolutely screw things up, I can confidently say I will pass every single block at Buas, no matter what they throw at me. Oh, somebody subscribed. Hey, thank you so much for the sub. I am saying this confidently. I will pass any block, whatever they throw at me at Buas, just because I've learned how to bullshit my way through the learning log. And it's like, I've heard so many people say this as well. Like, the emphasis on learning log is way too high. Like, some people have come out of the study and told me I feel like I've gotten better at making PowerPoint presentations than I have at actual game development, which is like such a sad thing to hear. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I mean, learning log, honestly, like keeping yourself organized as a game developer, definitely important, but I feel you always have to like find out structure that works for you, not like try to fit into a template or anything. Ah, I don't know. I'm torn on it. I think they should keep it up, but honestly, hmm, emphasis should definitely be on the game and how you behave as team members. And then especially when it comes to like the soft skill sides of things, which are so important. I always feel like in the learning log you can like it becomes such a pseudo science through the learning log. You can like talk about how you've been like such a good team member and how you've been helping everybody, and then it's like it becomes like this super robotic thing. Like some people like set themselves like their smart goals. Like I want to like give 3 people feedback each day to improve my feedback giving skills, which is like, yeah, cool. But also like, why don't you just give feedback to people because you're a good person? You know, why do I have to like make everything like, I don't know, this whole like goal setting over academizing soft skills thing is like, ah, it makes these things just like so super robotic, and I don't know. I don't have a better solution for it. This is one design solution that this is the impossible design solution. How do you properly structure a game course? Honestly, I think what I would find really cool is just like it's not a like the teachers can't do it, but just like you get a personal report on just how the teacher viewed you throughout your study. Just like I don't know, just like feed pro and con feedback points, just how they observed you, and so what you put into some PowerPoint. I don't know. A big ego helps a lot to pass the blog, it seems like. Yeah, honestly. I mean, I wouldn't say it's like a huge ego, but it's like I'm pretty confident in like my documentation skills and like all that academic stuff. It's just because it was like really hammered into us at high school in Germany, and I also took like, oh wait, I think my some of the rice kernels are burning to the bottom of this pot, so I'll just put it to the side real quick. Um, oh, it does smell a bit burnt here now. Let me just put it on the chair so you can see her. Yeah, I don't know. Being confident in your own abilities, right? As you say, you're like super good at game engines and programming, right? Being good in being confident in that is right. That's part of being like a health of like having a healthy ego, right? Um, so yeah, um, I don't think there's anything wrong with stating what you're good at, right? Telling telling the team about it. Um, yeah, and of course, like encourage people in what they're good at, right? Figure out what people are good at and use that to your strengths and the project's strengths. Hmm. All right, I'm starting to eat the pepper that we just cut. It's like I can't. It's so hard to focus on both things at the same time, articulating yourself and cooking. I always like get into the thing where I just stop and then I eat what I'm what I've just cut up. Like, oh my god, we still need this. What the heck? Mm. Oh my goodness. I should also turn down the stove. Hopefully I don't burn myself again. Last time when we made dalgona cookies, I got a really big like burn bubble on my finger. So yeah, gotta be a bit more careful. Mm. But yeah, dalgona cookies are like perfect thing to get burned. Mm. When whilst making. Um. Yeah. Oh yeah. Of course, we still need to like cut how much onion? Half an onion, I think, should be fine. Mm. Oh no, we got like spring onions. Of course, I don't think we need this. We need some garlic. And we need some spring onions. It smells so burnt. I'm like really. Nah, I think it's okay. There's still some dalgona sugar that's stuck to the that's stuck to the what's it called? Not oven. I'm at a loss for words. The stove. Luigi's Mansion. Blah, blah, blah. What you think Mario Party? You think Mario Party got better with time? No, Party definitely decreased in quality. I also think, yeah, Pokemon definitely decreased in quality. That's like the thing with Pokemon. Um, the thing like Pokemon is like such a big like special thing, where it's like it's gotten so incredibly popular that the devs do not like have to they don't really need to worry that much about quality because it's so insanely popular, like people are gonna buy it like no matter what. I guess you could say that about a lot of very big IPs, right? It's like it's the new Mario game. Come on, all the kids gonna get the new Mario game. I think with Pokemon that's especially the case. I've not played a lot of like the old Pokemon games. My brother said like the old ones were insanely good. Only Pokemon games I've played are Pokemon Go, which I got really into just because of the novelty. Um, and then Pokemon Sword or Shield. I mean, it doesn't really matter. And Pokemon Shining Pearl, which was one of the worst games that I have ever played. That was one of those games that my brother said was so good when he played it as a child, and then they had a remake. And the thing is, just Pokemon games are made babyishly easy nowadays. It's essentially just like they tell you the dominant thing, like the dominant action to take. Like they show the button, and if you press it, you're never gonna go game over. The whole game is essentially on autopilot. Oh, it was such a bad experience. It was so boring. I spent 15 hours in that game, mostly because my brother just kept urging me on, like, oh, it's such a good game. It's like this game is like my childhood. It's so good, and I was like, yeah, no, no, I'm not wasting any more lifetime on this. Like, so yeah, I'm definitely with you with Pokemon. Also, I've seen like Legends Arceus, which like of course like, concept wise sounds super cool, but then like I see the actual game, it's such a glitchy mess. I was like, yeah. um, yeah, you grew up with Mario Party 5, 8, and 9. 8 was super cool. I mean, with not honestly, I really like the. I don't care what anybody says. I really like the mechanic or like the system of driving. Everybody drives around in the same car, and you have to like. There's a lot of like calculation skills involved. Like, okay, so these guys are like before me. I want to screw over like this guy maybe. So I'm gonna like use a like right. There's a lot of strategizing in like which dice block will I take. I thought it was a really cool novel concept. I see people everywhere hating on it. Honestly, I really liked it. My unpopular opinion of the day. Um, All right, slice the garlic. We still need to slice these bad boys, the spring onions. Oh, I think this is like the one of the first times where I've actually. I need to make myself some space here. I've used up all the spring onions without them getting bad before I've used up all of them. Oh my god. Completely unrelated, but has anybody here seen the movie Wicked? While I'm trying to like sort out my thoughts, I am constantly like being reminded of that movie. It was I saw it on Sunday. It's like musical about the Wicked Witch of the West, another tongue twister by the way. From Wizard of Oz, but it's like from her perspective, like villain's perspective. And then that as a musical, it's one of the most enjoyable movies I've watched at the cinema since a long time. I'm usually not like even a big musical fan, but it's like whenever I go to a musical, it's always such a banger. And I've just been listening to the songs all day whilst QAing games. It's if you haven't seen it, highly recommend watching this movie. It's really really good. So yeah, has anybody seen it? I'm just curious. Sun and Moon were your first Pokemon. Yeah, I don't know. I can't say a lot about Pokemon, unfortunately. I'm just never been that into Pokemon. I grew up with Lilo and Stitch. That was like so with all the like experiments, that was like those were my monsters. You could say my collectible monster. Weren't even like there wasn't a lot of collectible merch for the Lilo and Stitch experiments, which was a shame. I was so obsessed with them. Right? Um, I'll have to check out Wicked. Yes, please do. I didn't. One of those movies where it's like, I thought it was gonna be like, I don't know if you've seen Wonka. I thought it was like gonna be like that, like pretty enjoyable experience. Like, world you're kind of like everybody's kind of familiar with. I mean, everybody knows Wizard of Oz, right? And then I'll leave the movie feeling like, well, that was a good movie. No, this one was exceptionally well produced in every single like aspect. It's really such a hard movie for me to fault. And I think villain's perspective, even when it is like in a very family friendly environment as this one was, best trope in storytelling. um Yeah, you're also defending Mario Party 9. Heck yeah, nice to see that there's people with the same weird opinions as I have. Go you, Dusty. Let's go Mario Party 9. Okay, I've cut some stuff. Um let's let's get a pan. Let's get a cookin'. Okie dokie. And let's maybe get back on script. Yeah. So, I don't know. I always have like these very loose scripts up here just so that I have things to talk about. Which, like, I don't know sometimes if like having a script is even like the best thing to have or not. But I don't know. Maybe makes the talk a little bit robotic sometimes. I don't know. Just started out with speaking to the public again, and kind of need to like find out how this works for me. So yeah, if you have like any like feedback or anything, feel free to drop it in the comments. Yeah. What did we not talk about? Yeah, I was kind of like talking about where toxic ego I feel stems from. Um Um, okay, we're gonna toss in this first. All right. Put in the garlic first. Usually, isn't that like advice putting in the garlic last? No, but was like talking a bit about like where I feel toxic ego stems from, right? From these feelings of under accomplishments, trying to break the chains. I feel like that was the case in my situation. Um, yeah. Um, Showing ego during concepting stage, I think, is incredibly important. I think I really flexed my ego muscles during the game jam that we had. I think I really had a very good control over my ego during the game jam at Blue, like the global game jam from it's now 3 weeks ago. Time flies. Um, but yeah, I feel like I was able to let go of my ideas, but then once we settled on an idea democratically, which I think honestly is not that bad of a decision, of a way to make team decisions. Just vote democratically on like what game concept most people are interested in. Um, yeah, then you're gonna have to make sure that that concept is as good as it can be. In our case, we had we had the situation where we wanted to make a narrative driven game where the which was like a UI based driven narrative game where the player was able to switch out pieces of dialogue and rearrange them to get new responses and keep the conversation going with NPCs in interesting ways. And people really wanted that game to also have like a 3D setting, like for the player to not only click themselves through menus, but then to actually like be able to walk around as well. Also need to like cut the red chili pepper. I completely forgot that. Make sure not to touch my eyes with this one. Let me just lower the heat a little bit. And yeah, so making sure, yeah, I think this is like where experience just comes in. But I do this day to day, um, for my work, right, at Pokey. Like I play so many games each day, um, and I have to make suggestions on how to make the game better, what I feel can be done to just improve the quality and the fun of the game. And you really have to like train yourself in detecting what is really core and central to the experience. Um, right, so that you actually like make I mean, anybody can make suggestions like, let's just add some mini games, right? Or add more content, but I feel oftentimes that's not very actionable feedback, right? So it's really all about like being able to, especially in these concepting meetings where you have to like step up and make like good proposals, actually qualitatively good proposals, really important, to be able to to be trained in that, like, filtering out, identifying what the core fun is. So yeah, I think for this suggestion of like having 3D environment, of course that would have given a lot of people more to work on, but I also thought it really distracted from the core fun and what the game was aiming for. So I really planted my feet, stepped up, and told everybody that that was not a very good idea, and I thought potentially dangerous for the project as well, with how limited resources we have in terms of time. So yeah, that was a very, I would say, healthy way in which I showed my ego in one of these discussions. Maybe some other people in the chat have like their own examples. I like the mix of chat and script. It makes it feel like I am learning a bit about your experience and hanging out, and we're hanging out together. Yeah. Okay. Nice. That's very nice to hear, Manon. Thank you so much. Yeah, I try to keep the conversation on track, but then also like to see what you guys are interested in. So yeah, good to hear that you're liking the mix. I mean, as I said at the start, I think I've lost track of which episode this is by now. But yeah, we're still kind of at the beginning, so just trying to find the groove. Mario Party 8 is my favorite Mario Part. Mario Party 8 is honestly so good. Honestly, it has such creative boards. I think that's what makes really good Mario Party. Just a great variety of very creative boards. And I think Mario Party Jamboree has that as well. But I kind of didn't really see the need for buying Mario Party Jamboree. Oh, I was supposed to put in the chicken as well, actually. Jesus. I'm gonna put in some more oil and then add some chicken. Some vegan chicken. Now I'm starting to get hungry. I wasn't that hungry all day because like we really had some amazing Indian curry at work today with like chickpeas and rice and naan bread. That was really very nice. Just gonna throw in everything and then make myself a second portion tomorrow. Heck yeah. But yeah, just getting some extra chicken into the mix, I think that's quite nice. Oh, what I completely forgot, of course, are the cashews. You're supposed to, yeah, you're supposed to like toast them at the start. Aw, dang it. I mean, I guess let's do this in like a separate pan. I mean, this one's just gonna be for toasting the cashews. I think it's better if I do this in a separate pan, actually. How much actually? 65 grams of cashews. How much is this? This is 400 grams. Wow, this is... I mean, I also put in 300 grams of chicken. This is 400. I'm making multiple servings either way, so... Who cares? You can, like... balance the numbers how you feel like it. Like in game design, right? When you're doing cooking and you have like game design talks, you can just draw so many cheap parallels. Balance the ingredients like you balance mechanics in game design. It's like, I use ChatGPT sometimes. I admit, I confess, I use ChatGPT sometimes to like write scripts. And it like keeps suggesting me these super like obvious parallels to draw between between cooking and game design, and it's like your channel is such a great symbiosis, so make sure at this point in the script to say this exact thing to like it's so cringe. But also, yeah, no, ChatGPT is still a really awesome tool, I believe. Are you guys like concerned on the ethics of AI, or do you like want to like keep your fingers from ChatGPT? Because yeah, it's like such interesting like just division or talking point. I feel like that is like the talking point at the moment. Just like, what do people think of generative AI used for creative processes? Yeah, I think turning this up to full heat. Do not allow the garlic to burn. We might be past that, buddy. No, I think it's fine. I think it's fine. Also, there's quite a lot of liquid coming from the chicken chunks, or the soy chunks. But that should also be okay. I'll just let them simmer for a little bit. So also, as I said, it takes a while for this stove to heat up. So it's gonna take a little bit for the cashews. I think I put in too much olive oil. They're drenched in olive oil now. I think ChatGPT is great for creative inspiration, but text coming out of ChatGPT feels soulless. Yeah. I don't know. Honestly, I use it daily. Also, when I like write scripts, I think it's really all about how you use it. If you can like, I think if you only give it like the prompt, just write me an email or something, or write me a story, I think then it's gonna be very generic. But I think the more specific your prompts are, you can actually get some really, really cool inspirations. I once wrote a horror story with ChatGPT. What I like to do is I like to write a first draft, give it to ChatGPT, and just ask it for feedback or improvement suggestions. And I did that with this horror story, and it gave me like such tonally specific suggestions. I was really impressed by that. That was super cool. And also scary. Like if I want to be a writer for games, and ChatGPT can already like be this good, right? I don't think it'll take my job. I don't think like in terms of like actual like writing, like again, right? Because this like ChatGPT cannot observe the world. It cannot feel or experience. So I think something like Breaking Bad ChatGPT will never be able to create something as compelling, just out of thin air. But it's a very good like assistant in crafting. All right, I think the cashews, some of them are really starting to get blackish even. So maybe turn down the heat here and add them to the mix. Also, the green cashews need to be put in by now. The green cashews, the green pepper. Oh, dang it. I just burned myself again. Hopefully this one doesn't give me a bubble. Another nervous shock. A friend of mine has been using it to learn Python, and he said it was great to help explain what every line of code does. Ooh, honestly, that is what I'm so excited about as well. Just like ChatGPT translating my ideas into code. I once made a board game, like wrote board game rules, and then asked ChatGPT to simulate the board game. And I was able to like look behind the scenes and then actually see ChatGPT translating my English written text into code. And that was like one of the most exciting experiences I have ever had. I was just like, holy shit, it can do that? That is amazing. That is amazing. And it really gave me confidence in just like, if you are able to articulate yourself properly, know exactly what you want your code to do, then ChatGPT, I feel like Light Yagami learning the mechanics of the Death Note in a more ethical way, of course, when using ChatGPT and trying out things with it. It's so cool. It is really just so cool. All right, let's add the cashews. It's gonna be a little boo-boo, but not too bad. All right. I feel like I always like keep talking about like the ego stories, railing back. I'm gonna try to like keep on track now. So yeah. We were talking, of course, about showing your ego, especially in the concepting stage, right? I think what's most important, right, after having decided democratically, then to make the concept like really coherent and tight, I think then it's important to show your ego. I think that's probably like the most important part, to flex your ego. Yeah, but of course, the concept and the suggestions that you make, they should really spark joy and excitement in the majority of the team members. And as I said so often, it doesn't matter how cool an idea is if the team cannot make it, does not have the skills to make it. I mean, of course, you're always going to have to like teach yourself a little bit. Then it doesn't matter how cool the idea is. It's gonna suck. And the experience is not gonna be fun for you and for the team. All right. Gonna cover this with our sauce, which has been sitting here for quite a while now. It tells me to immediately reduce the heat to low. And I think now it should thicken relatively quickly. But yeah, I think the chicken's gotten quite brown. I think this looks quite good overall. So yeah, let's just let this simmer for a while, and now we can actually talk. I don't need to clean up the kitchen or anything, right? Oh, hey, Robin. You didn't realize I'd gone live already. Every Wednesday at 19. How can you not know, Robin? Do you, out of all people, not get the notification? We were talking earlier about like now I'm derailing again. To get back on track, Robin, when did your ego last get in the way? Can you answer the question of the day? ChatGPT can be a good help, but yeah, you shouldn't allow ChatGPT to 100% make a game or a movie. Yeah. Yeah, of course I understand what you mean. I mean, video games and movies are like a tool of self-expression, right? I want some person to have had like the core thought behind it, right? They wanted to, if I make a game, it's because I think it's like a cool idea and it has some value to people, right? It's a part of me. I think so often, like at Buas, also sometimes game design is so, right, because of course we're an academic institution. It's so much turned into a science instead of an art, and science isn't always necessarily the most inspirational thing. So yeah, no, of course, do not allow ChatGPT to completely 100% have control over your game and your creative decisions. I'm always for creative decisions. I always ask ChatGPT very specific questions, because like still I am still in control, right? I can say, yo, this is a fire suggestion, or no, dude, this sucks. what are you suggesting here, right? I am still in control of that. But yeah, make sure how you dose it so that it doesn't take full control over your creative process. I don't everything ChatGPT comes up with uh a rehash. On the other hand, most creative projects start out like that. Yeah. Yeah, honestly. I mean, yeah, so many creative projects start off like, right? What I always say, what my or one of my preferred ways to make a game is just take this concept that people are like that is very well established in our society. People like have a very right that's very established like everybody knows Tetris, everybody knows like Sokoban or something, and then just put like a crazy spin on it. That's for me personally. That is a not the only way to make a game, of course, but I love that as like a starting point for making a game. Um, right, like two of my favorite games are made like that, like Baba Is You, right? Um, putting a crazy spin on Sokoban, Balatro putting a crazy spin on poker. Works very well with movies as well, right? Like we were talking about Wicked earlier, putting a crazy spin narratively on The Wizard of Oz. Just like quite a very well established, but also very episodic um, narrative. So putting like the villain's perspective as a twist on that, very nice reinterpretation. The way every time I try to talk about who I am as an artist, I always end up yapping some bullshit to seem interesting because I think I'm too proud to admit I really don't know. Wait, what? um, wait, when I kind of get what you mean, Robin. Like just whenever somebody asks you who are you as an artist, and you like try to give like some really super in-depth intricately built response to that. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying and what you're talking about. I used to have the same with me, like who are you as a designer? If people ask that in an interview, they're also just assholes. But like, um, I don't really know. I don't know who I am exactly. Or maybe you should have an answer. It's not an asshole thing to ask. I take that back, by the way. But yeah, no, I very much get what you mean. I found out how to make ChatGPT tell me what resource it uses today, so I'm slightly less untrusting of it. Yeah, always ask ChatGPT for sources. I think that's also so important, just so that you, yeah, actually know where it got something like its inspiration from. I found out how to but how to do you know it's not lying about the sources? Yeah, it gave me links that time, but I'm very old, man. Blah blah blah. But I'm very sorry. I'm just blah blah blahing. There was a cloud about generatively. Paper Mario 2 was also not generated by ChatGPT, but by real people. Yeah, no shit, Dusty. It was created in 2004. No, of course, of course. Um, um, but I'm trying to embrace it's a little bit more for things um, like, I don't know, tips on saving money and stuff. Yeah, of course, that's great. Yo, Paul, yo, Mark, how's it going? I was just talking about you the other day, like a couple of minutes ago. I was like, where's Mark actually? Because we were talking about team based experiences in high school. And yeah, I said like the biggest team project that I worked on was probably like English drama, right? We spent like the whole year trying to like yeah, put on an training practicing to put on like a theater production. We were like talking about like how in high school more people like there should just be more team-based driven experiences in high school because you're absolutely thrown into cold water when you get out of high school. Like you learn nothing. We did like a newspaper project once, but that was it. All right, I think this is pretty much right. Let me actually like just test this just to see if this is okay. A-okay. Mm. Oh yeah, I think this is quite nice actually. So what I usually do, I just taste I taste one spoon, and if it's not completely shit, I'm like, yeah, that's nice. We can serve this. Mm. But yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Mm. I'm gonna plate this, and then you can watch me eat because that's like super fun. And while I'm eating, I can probably like continue with the script. So you're gonna see super weird. This is like the first time where I'm like actually gonna be like fully eating my dish on camera. It's not like in my room, I don't really have like any place to sit down and enjoy my meal anyways. So I will just like be having my meal here while it's leaning over the camera. Hope that's not too weird. But oh, I love this dish by the way. Honestly, this is such a simple dish that can be made super quickly. But I think from this book, this is probably the dish that I have made most often. So sriracha cashew chicken, I'll share the recipe. I'll just make a picture of the page and share that in the Discord. Um, no, yeah, I think it's the best. My personal favorite dish from this book. Where did I have my spoon? I just had a pretty big spoon. Here's a fork. Where did I put my big spoon? Oh, of course, to shovel out rice. All right, bon appetit. I'm good. How are you doing? I don't know if you should be eating those burnt cashews. You learned so much. You learned so much from No Fear. No, honestly, these burnt cashews, they're not burned. This is normal for cashews. Them getting a little bit black. I think. I always eat them like this. Should be fine. I paid €7 for these cashews, so they better be worth it. Mm. I think No Fear, honestly, one of the most enriching experiences you have at high school. The most enriching. Yeah, I would say No Fear is the most enriching experience I've had at high school, definitely. Mm. Oh, this dish is so good. All right, let's get back on track. Um, I think maybe I've like kind of like been, um, oh my god, um, they're not supposed to do that. They're not supposed to get black. Yeah, they do. It's my recipe. What are you gonna do about it? Mm. I feel less bad about my slightly burned tempeh now. Oh, how's your tempeh going actually? Is it good? It can still be good even if it's slightly burned. No Fear, that was the name of our sorry, to not provide context, but that's the name of our acting group back in high school. Yeah. It was fantastic time. We played the Crucible in my final year at high school. Such a fun play as well. No, that's always like the thing. I felt like just target audience wise, right? It's in English at a German school, and it's quite like dark and complicated plays. But that makes it so much more enjoyable for the actors, I feel. I mean, like 80% of the audience has no clue what the fuck is going on, but you know, who gives a shit? It's a high school production, right? Oh, it's super delicious. Post the photo in the Discord. Ooh, I'm gonna. As I yeah, I would love to. I'm gonna take a look at it after the stream because I'm using my phone as main camera here. But yeah, looking hope it's good. Mm, yeah. No, what I was saying earlier. Mm, I feel like I've kind of just been procrastinating with looking back at the script because I didn't want to like I don't know. didn't want to tell you about my big ego outburst, but yeah, I pretty much got it all wrong in like my second year. Um, Especially during concepting stages. Feel like concepting stages, that is just the biggest slip up for ego. Mm. Because I got so attached to a concept, and I feel like there are certain genres, like at the start of year 2, everybody had to like choose a certain genre, like of game that they wanted to work on, and then those people that chose the same genre got put in a group together. I chose Couch Party co-op, and then there was Puzzle. I feel like Puzzle and Couch Party are like two genres where there's like the most room for like creativity still. I feel like if you like, there were also teams that chose platformer, and it's just those projects are very. Of course, you can make like put a cool spin on a platformer, but I feel so much in these projects has already been explored. So I feel you don't get like too competitive about like different views or like different concepts, because they're still very much all going to be relatively samey, at least mechanically, and player experience wise. But yeah, for Couch Party co-op, I told you I love social deduction games. And I really wanted to make a social deduction game. I had this idea of, again, as I said, I love taking a game that exists, putting a cool spin on it. My idea was, at the time, I was playing a lot of Overcooked. And I was thinking, what if you take Overcooked, you're playing with 4 people, but one person is the imposter. That was like the core, that was the hook of my concept, right? So Overcooked, but one person is the imposter. And you would be able, as team members, to like shut down other people, like use items to freeze a team member if you were like thinking or suspicious of them being the imposter. Well, to like enhance the chaos, you have mistrust, and then you have like recipes that you would want to do, or it wouldn't have necessarily had to be recipes. It could have been any other task to do. But yeah, that concept, just player experience wise, sparked so much excitement in me. And my team wasn't passionate about that at all. Like, even when everybody said that they didn't want to do it, I still like hung on to it. My teacher, that was also like the thing, my teacher thought it was a super cool idea. But then it's like they're not part of the team, so what does it matter, right? That sounds like Mario Kart Chaos, OMG. That's the time where ego gets you for real. In No Fear, we have to have an ego. Yeah, honestly, in No Fear, I mean, in acting, in anything creative, you need to have an ego, right? Right, when you're an actor, you're crafting a character, right? You have your own interpretation of that character. You need to make sure, of course, sure that the character fits the work as a whole. You can put your own spin on it, right, to be unique. That's really important. Listen to your director, but offer suggestions. That's the first dish I saw you make. I'd make myself. I'd eat myself this one? What do you mean? What about the sushi? You ate the sushi. You ate it and you liked it. No, but this is really good. This is really, really good. So yeah, talking about that project, I was obsessed with it, and especially because it's like the teachers liked it, I got obsessed with it even more. I tried to get like outside validation of people that found it interesting to like prove to myself that I'm not crazy and I'm still right. And it's like you're technically right because it could be a cool idea, but as I said, they were so not into it. And then I cannot make them be into it. It can always be like the issue, okay, maybe your pitch just wasn't good enough. But also sometimes it's maybe they just didn't wrap their heads around it properly. Maybe they just don't want to wrap their heads around it. I'm sure that can be a little bit saddening, but it's like at the end of the day, it's just an idea. Why do you get so hung up over an idea? Because there's lots of ideas out there, right? If this one doesn't work, this one doesn't spark joy, come up with a new one. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like a lot of energy that I could have put into just generating more ideas, I didn't. And yeah, of course, like, I mean, I let go of it eventually. We went for. That's also right. Like, in the end, we went for a fairly standard couch party game. Like, it's 2v2 capture the flag. It's like, gameplay wise, it works, but it's nothing like super unique, super special, I'd say. I mean, you've played games like it before. But yeah, it was okay. In the end, I did work myself into it, but like just like frustration about not having gone with my idea, like still like kind of were present. And it's like it's so childish, right? It's such a childish like thing to get obsessed about. Like it prevents you from just like fully committing to an idea, which I tried doing. I felt like even then, even when my idea wasn't chosen, I tried to like, how do I put this into words? I tried to then like push even harder, demonstrate to people that I actually didn't care, and got like slightly passive aggressive in the process. I got really passive aggressive. Yeah, there were like moments where I would just tell people like that a certain mechanic would just like feel downright awful, or like I would use these really harsh words and not cause a good vibe in the team. And that is just really something unacceptable that you just can't allow. Yeah, I mean, it's just like my design philosophy is maybe not the same as the ones I was within the team. For me, I always want to like I want to create new experiences, right? I said before that I was very much into indie games, just games that put a unique spin on gameplay, try out something new. And I think the people that I was working with were very much people that just wanted to make a game as good as it can be. Right? And these are like two very opposing, very valid design philosophies. So it's like when you're out of school, I mean, you can still try doing it when you're in school, but you need to like try to find the people that share the same taste as you, and then like these frictions about self-expression don't get right. You can maybe decrease them a little bit. Mm. Yeah. So, yeah, just to like sum that up, I think I wrote this. I think I summed this up here very well in a sentence. I'm just gonna read it out loud. If you allow for frust to take over, even after an idea that you had pitched isn't chosen, about like these little things where your ego was hurt, you let your ego be hurt. People will lose faith and trust in you. You will not have much to say about the game. That's true as well, right? If people just sense that there's a negative aura or vibe coming from you, right? You're not going to be put into a position where you have a lot of power, right? Because people just don't trust you, right? You're not going to be you're not going to take over lead. I mean, definitely not lead. And then also if they get the sense that you may be working against the team, which I wasn't, but I feel just like my behavior very much gave off that vibe. Yeah, you're just gonna get tasks that are less integral to the project, that can more easily be cut if something goes wrong, which is not what you want. So yeah. If I was in your situation, I would push through anyway and make everyone work. I get what I want by all means, by all memes necessary. Are you sure about that? I find a way to muscle everyone through. So I might eat me even worse in that regard. This is where I think soft skills and vibes can be more important than fundamentals and design skills. Yeah, no, of course. Oh, that comes from you, Robin. Wait, so Mark, you just want to like brute force your idea, like just force it upon him? Yeah, that was me. I tried that. I tried it with like all means necessary, and it didn't go well. But that's also because I like non-obvious things, and people don't necessarily like to wrap their head around non-obvious things. Maybe if you have if you have a bit of a simpler idea, maybe that works better. As I said, definitely good to pitch your idea, but you need to find that balance, need to know when to let it go. Which, of course, when you're inexperienced, you just don't know. No, but yeah, what what you are saying, soft skills and vibes, I think are so much more important than design skills. I think honestly, design skills, so much game design stuff is like mumbo jumbo, anyways. Not completely, but I think design is not an exact science, right? As you'll hear me say so often. Right? So it's like you're essentially giving somebody a very loose template, and then they have to like try to apply that template to many different things that can somewhat sort of fit into it. Yeah. No, but what you're saying, honestly, there are friends of mine that I have worked together with who have, they know nothing about game design. They don't know anything about game design. They've never touched a game engine before. they've maybe played like a few video games. I would much rather work with those people than with somebody who has spent their entire life making games, but it's just a complete ass to work with. Who gets frustrated at every path along the way. Just guilt trips, finger points, scapegoats. This is really good, actually. I think I'm gonna have another portion. Watch me eat another portion of rice with vegan chicken, because why not? Still want to have some dinner for tomorrow, though. Yeah, this looks about right. When hiring new, wait, I think a big part of beating your ego is the realization that everyone has. Wait, it's very has ideas to bring to the table that are just as good as your own. And if you're only listening to yourself, you miss out on those. True. I don't think everybody has ideas that are just as good as my own. Ego shining through. I think there's definitely ideas that are objectively better than others. It all depends on how they are expressed, I think. A great idea that is expressed poorly is arguably a shit idea. But yeah, totally. Listen to people. Listen to what everybody is passionate about. And make a game that you collectively as a group are passionate about, which isn't always possible. There's always going to be somebody on the team who's like, yeah, that fucking sucks. But like, as a professional, it's your job to work yourself into the thing. So get up and deal with that, especially if it's a student project. It's like, I've had people on like game jam teams that were like, I don't want to work on this. I want to switch the team. It's like, we're working on this thing for 2 days. Like, get up and deal with it, dude. I don't know. It's just your job, right? When hiring new people at work, we tend to favor people with good soft skills over people who are 10 times coders. Yeah, no, honestly. And I think this is also really something important to look into when you're not just when you are hiring, but like when you are going to interviews as well. Like at Pokey, the people were so sweet during my interview. Like they invited me to lunch after my interview. They kept the interview like really, really casual as well. They told me to dress casually. They invited me for lunch. They paid lunch is free at our office anyways and is paid. But I was already able to sense there was such a good vibe. Who is now my supervisor, then my interviewer, he showed me around the office. Everybody, like, I was able to shake everybody's hands. And it's like, if that's the vibe that is established at your interview, like, that's the place where you want to go work as well then. Like, I'm still so, I couldn't be happier with Pokey. I'm like, only my second week now, and it's been fantastic. I'll watch along. Can't write anymore. Oh no. Talking and giving feedback and criticizing should never feel personal. No, definitely not. If someone has an idea you don't like and it's shot down, maybe their next idea is really good, but they won't feel comfortable communicating anymore. Immediately starts about, yeah, definitely. Never say that. Never just say, yeah, that sucks. I feel that's the point where you're being a dick, right? Number one rule, our teacher at Buas told us, don't be a dick. And I feel if you can't express what is wrong with an idea, you can't put that into words, then you're being a dick. I feel like sometimes your alarm bells ring and you need a little bit of time to think about why something feels wrong. I've had that a lot. It's just like, yeah, something just feels off about this. And of course, that's shit feedback, right? But yeah, you need to train yourself to be like, again, identify the core, identify what's wrong with an idea, and be able to put that into words quickly in these discussion meetings. Which is hard. Yeah, takes practice, takes time and practice. Mm. Our interview consists of going to lunch together too. Honestly, that's so nice. Where do you work at Manon? Mm. So I think I like briefly looked into your status on Discord. Do you like work like somewhere at the Chassé field? Is that correct? Um, yeah. What exact like if you want to share it, of course. Sorry if I like dropped anything. I don't know. I just like briefly looked into your status on Discord. I'd be really interested. Hmm. I had a situation where someone I worked with thought I was being too dominant in the group and she felt like she couldn't express herself anymore. Was really glad she told me about that. Yeah. That's you don't want that for someone's confidence to be diminished. That sucks. Right? Don't do that. Yeah, as you said, right? Don't let your criticism feel personal and don't let anybody's criticism affect you. It's when you're inexperienced that can be difficult, right? It's like again, balance needs to come from both sides, right? You need to be able to handle the heat in a team, in a creative team, but you also need to be good people. Everybody needs to be a good person. Mm. Mm. Great developers. The Turi Iwata. Yeah, of course. It's that like honestly, the people at Nintendo, they're such experienced developers, right? They've done their craft for so long. They know how to lift people up, how to empower each other. They establish such great trust amongst one another. Yeah, definitely great role model to have. Traverse Research in Breda. Yep, next to Pate. Yeah, cool. That's so interesting. Like, I don't know. Do you want to give a little bit of insight into what does like a day there look like for you? I'm quite interested. Mm. What was the exact kind of thing you said? I thought her ideas were worse than mine, but when I heard her out, she ended up contributing a lot of good as well. Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Um, as I said, right? I'm very confident that there are better ideas than others. But yeah, we're all idea generators. Cool suggestions can come from anywhere. And if you don't hear people out, you're going to miss out on a lot of them. Yeah. If you diminish somebody else's ego, right? Talking about cuz that's my final point I have here, right? Which is like we talked a lot about like ego getting overbloated and causing chaos, but not showing ego is just as bad, or I feel arguably even worse. If somebody is essentially just a silent slave on the project, you're never a silent slave. In game design, you're always, it is your job as a designer to show self-expression, even if it's in like a fairly minimalistic way. You're never, when you're creating a new project, you're never just plain copying something, right? You're always adding a mechanic to the bunch that's going to contribute and be part of something new. Mm. Even if you're creating like a UI symbol, like a UI menu, the way in which you lay out those those UI symbols, which UI symbols you use, which coloring you use, which audio you use for when people hover over it, that's all self-expression. And there's like healthy amount of ego that is necessary for every single one of these jobs. And if you just completely let people reach into your responsibility and completely take over, that's really not good. Nobody is a silent slave or should be a silent slave on game teams, right? It's all about, you're not there to do work for others, you're there to do work with others together in any creative project. That is so important. That is so important to realize. We do 3D rendering research. Are building a benchmark evolve into client projects, which I can't talk about too much because of NDAs. In other words, a bunch of nerds who are really into computer graphics. That sounds amazing. Wow, that's like, especially, wow, 3D rendering is like something that I am completely uneducated about, but that sounds like such a nice team vibe as well that you have going on there. Really, really cool. Nice. And also like the location. I have a I have a personal connection with the Chassé field because when I first drove to Breda with my dad, we wanted to get something. There's a snack booth there, right? I think it's still up. And we were like, we had a real day behind us. Like the whole drive to Breda was like super long. It was like middle of like August. It was super hot. And we were like, oh, we just need like a Fanta. Come on, let's just like park it here, get the Fanta, drive back to Germany. And my dad didn't notice that you like had to pay a parking ticket there. So a few days later, we just get like a parking ticket for like $100 that we had to pay because we didn't get a parking ticket, and like none of us knew. It's just something. It's not common in Germany, or there's always like a blockage, like a blockage that prevents you from parking somebody if you don't have a parking ticket. So that's just like my personal connotation I have with the Chassé field. But other than that, it's great. There's like the pate, there's the bowling alley. It's so cool. Especially at school, everyone wants to do stuff for their portfolio that reflects their ambition, so it causes more friction when egos get too big. That's the most annoying thing. That's what I hate so much. Like people, that's what I say is like one of the biggest reasons why student projects fail is because people are not in it for the team. They just want to like have a big mechanic to show off for their portfolio, which is just, it doesn't contribute to the project, dude. Why do you want this in the, like, having this for your portfolio? That's unhealthy ego. In game design, you gotta be like, you gotta be in it for the team. Like you need people that function as the glue, right? Like combining mechanics, sticking things together. Doing quality assurance, that is somebody's entire job in the industry. That is my entire job currently. Right? And it's not like I have some big mechanic to show for, but it's a really important job. So, yeah. The sad thing is that it works, right? Because people that check your portfolio, they are not going to get the player experience. They're going to see, oh, you made this entire mechanic? That's super cool. And it's like, No, it's not, because it didn't contribute to the player experience. Which you're not able to actually even experience. Mm. But yeah, I get that frustration, Robin. No, that's bad. OMG, yes, Robin, that was such a big problem for people with the switch to project-based learning. Yes, 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 yes. People spitting facts in the comments. Am I streaming on the 26th of February? I don't know. Is that a Wednesday or a Friday? I try to stream every Wednesday and Friday. This Friday not, because Robin, you're coming over. Mm. Wait. um, you think in illustration it's more important that people care about their portfolio? I've had so many people care about their people only care about their portfolios in game design. It's crazy. It's so unhealthy for the project. Mm. With my field, the visual is the whole experience. I love Walter Pinkman. Me too. I'm only coming over late. You could do a cheeky stream before I get there. Um, I don't know. Wouldn't it be weird if you all of a sudden like? That's the thing, because I can't check my phone during streams. So then you run the risk of just you could text me in stream theoretically, like, hey, I'm in front of your door, and then I could be like quickly go. That would be so funny actually if you just show up like mid stream. You're just like, hello everybody, I'm Robin. That'd be so funny actually. If it's a Wednesday, then I'm probably gonna be streaming Dusty. But yeah, doing things purely for your portfolio, purely to have something to work on is bad. But not showing your ego, not speaking up for yourself is just as bad. Everybody needs to know that at the end of the day, they gotta be in it for the project, not the portfolio. Right? And you need to like also, right, like show your muscles in the ego muscles, in the sense like sometimes people just have other ideas that again don't contribute to the core, and those ideas need to be viewed with caution or shut down in concepting. Like there's no way around it. And this is where things can maybe feel slightly personal, which they're not, but because ideas come from us, come from the inside, they are very much like personal thing. Oh hey, Treager. Hello there. Nice that you're joining the party. Yeah, what I also really think is important is to learn to compromise, right? And learning the right way to compromise. Can you by any chance do a deep voice? Like, hello there. Or like keep up the low voice for the entirety of the stream. You're a funny man. No, what this is really good again. Gonna keep myself some of that for tomorrow. But yeah, learning to compromise is, I think, so important. That was so Markiplier. Um, Thank you, lol. I have a huge project plan, and my voice actor left me, so I'm just looking around currently. Oh, wait, we have a voice actor. We have a voice actor in chat. Robin, you're a voice actor. I don't know. Do you know Robin? Do you know each other, or are you just randomly joining the stream? You know somebody with a deep voice I can get in contact with? Um, no, I don't know them yet. I mean, I don't think you have the deepest voice, Robin, but if you really want me to, I can put on a deeper voice than this. We haven't met, no. Oh, that's so. How charming! Just two voice actors in the same chat. Yeah, get in contact. Um, or like Robin, you're in the voice acting community. You're bound to know somebody. Are you just going like through streams asking for people to do a low voice? It's so funny. No, but what I was talking about, right? Compromising is key, and it's like doing the right compromise, right? Because I think so often, um, it can compromising can be done in such dumb ways. Like, oh, we didn't do your way this time. We're gonna do it your way next time, which is like that is like a very personal way of compromising, and again, is not in favor of the project, but more in favor of the person, of not hurting their feelings potentially. Um, which is like, of course, as I said, it's important that you have like a good vibe, but this type of compromising is like not in favor of the project at all, right? With the project, you should always have clear reasoning of why you are doing things, right? And there's no worse reason than because XYZ wants it or because they say so. Right? That's not a good reason. That's an easy way out, but it's not a good reason. Um yeah. And yeah, as always, super important. It's important to have like have other people's feedback, have other people's input, and listen to that. But what you cannot allow for, which happened to me in my last project, and it led to the writing getting incredibly muddled and inconsistent, is to have everybody have their fingers in on the pie, right? It's like a common metaphor where it's like there's no that's a problem when there's no clear hierarchy established in the team. You don't have like one person to sign off on your writing or your mechanic or whatever you're doing, but you're getting like feedback from every single person with possibly conflicting views. That's where things get really messy, and that's where you have to show your ego and say, yo, this is shit, guys. Let me have one person to report to, and the rest of you please focus on your own thing. um yeah, this happens with these very over bloated concepts as well. This is what I think one of the greatest books on level design is comes from Ben Bauer. He's a German level designer, right? He calls this brown sauce syndrome, when you allow everybody to like add their ideas, and it's like the ideas, they just don't jibe, right? It's like when you're mixing together ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise, sriracha, yopi sauce, right? And you're mixing that together and you just get like brown sludge, brown sauce. Like the ideas can be good on their own, but when combined, they just don't jibe. Um, I think that's a very nice metaphor. Um, And yeah, you have to like make sure to shut ideas down if they don't contribute to the core, right? That's what I'll say so often. Do not allow for brown sauce syndrome. Stand your ground, cut those ideas, tell people concretely why their ideas are bad given the context, right? Because the idea in itself is just an idea. um, yeah, important stuff. Important stuff. Um, yeah, I think to sum this whole talk up perfectly, right? This is a great quote that I got from Wendy Despaine's Professional Techniques for Video Game Writing. Allowing others to discard your best ideas is just as bad as fighting for your every idea. I think if you like took one thing from this talk, I think like that is like I love this quote. I use it all the time. It's yeah. I think it's a very good way of looking at a balanced ego. Um yeah. ChatGPT wanted me to include a chat prompt here, so why not? But yeah, I'm really interested in like seeing what was the biggest ego burst that you have ever witnessed, like in a project or anything. Biggest ego burst I've ever witnessed came from Walter White in Breaking Bad, throughout the entire show. But that's like a fictional show. The other one was pretty messed up, so I'm not gonna go in detail. And then was myself. So yeah. Don't be an egomaniac. Try to help everybody. Be a good person, but stay confident yourself. Right? Okay. Seeing so much difference between game design and illustration animation. We had small teams, 4 to 5 people, and when everyone had equal power over the project, we worked together best. Of course, game design has way more moving parts, so it makes sense. Yeah. Um, but of course, I think, right, like what you're doing with illustration, they're very sure it's a linear experience that the player is going through. The reader in your case is going through. I'm so used to saying player synonymously with consumer. um, but yeah, no, you're yeah. I think because like when it comes to crafting a story, having a single vision is so important, and I think if you're just creating like a storybook, then having more than 4 to 5 people, that really sounds like having a lot of fingers get into the same pie. So I think that team size wise, I think that makes perfect sense. Yeah. Thought they knew all about programming. Um, OMG, I didn't. This didn't happen to me, but in my class there was this character designer that wouldn't allow anyone to use projects she worked on in their portfolio. That's. I mean, they can't just say you can't use this in your portfolio, right? It's a team effort. Everybody worked on it, and you didn't sign a contract, so sucks to be you, I guess. Deal with it, right? But why wouldn't she allow that? I feel like that's such a weird thing to not allow. Are you like insecure of your work or something? I've posted I've posted so much shit online that I'm really not insecure about anything anymore that I post, like anything creative at least. So just dump all that trash out there, I guess. um, what was the reason? So a whole animated short she didn't allow everyone else to include on their site. But like you're still allowed to use it, right? I think. But was actually not that knowledgeable. Repost. Oh, one of the old IGAT teachers who shall remain. Wait. One of the old IGA teachers who shall remain anonymous, they thought they were just the best because they made games in the 80s. Thought they knew it all about programming, but was actually not that knowledgeable. Really? I mean, okay, one of the old IGAT teachers, so they're not there anymore. I mean, you have some IGAT teachers with some. Nah, I'm not gonna name any names, but they take quite some pride in their older projects that they've worked on, which is also nice to see sometimes. I think. Um, Honestly, I think it's nice. Kind of like we have one of our design teachers. He has like a whole cabinet full of like trophies for quest design that he made for one of his games, like right in front of the classroom. I don't know. I would do the same, honestly. I don't know. Maybe that's also an unhealthy ego thing, but I think it's interesting. Um, she had a huge ego. She thought people would steal her designs. I think. Okay. Aw. But like that's what like the whole creative industry is about. Like you need to. How are they gonna do it if they like ever work on a movie or something? If you create like a 3D character for a movie and it's like, yeah, but I don't want that. I don't want anybody to see this because somebody might steal it. Like, what the fuck? Then what are you making art for if you don't want people to see it? Hmm. It's okay to take pride in past work, but this was through the roof. I'm, I'm so curious who it was. I know, like, yeah, it's probably we don't want to like gossip about anybody here, but yeah, that sounds very much like some people I know. Did Triager just come into chat to tell you to do a sexy voice and then leave? Yeah, I think they did. Yeah. Did you exchange I'm sorry, I didn't look at the chat like when they were here that much. Um, I think yeah. It's kind of funny though. I think they're just going from like stream to stream to look for voice actors. Was my was my deep voice not good enough for them? I didn't know that I was being tested. I could have done a much better one for sure. All right. Um cool. I think honestly we're it's getting a little bit like late. Not getting too late, but I feel like we've kind of gotten through the script. We've gotten through cooking and eating, and I think it's best if I clean up the kitchen myself. Um, yeah, I don't know. Does anybody still have anything to add for the in chat? Because otherwise, I'd suggest yeah, we see each other next Wednesday. Robin, we see each other on Friday. But let me just see. Um, we did not because I don't know any English um VAs except for one. I think it was sexy. Don't worry. Yeah, of course. You have to say that. You're my partner. So. Oh, fun. Fun. Okay, yeah. Well, thank you everybody so much again for participating in the chat. I think it was lovely. We had some very insightful discussions. Um, Great episode. Really great episode. Um, so yeah, I would say have a lovely rest of your week because we're skipping out this Friday. Have a lovely weekend. And yeah, see you all next Wednesday. Bye bye.